Hello everyone, and welcome to Elden Ring, where elevation doesn't matter in terms of spawn radius, and you can get some very silly starting locations where flat crow flies distance, you're pretty close to the host, but in actual distance, you might as well be across an ocean. So what I have here is a single invasion against two guys that did nothing except play co-op, and I'm pretty sure that the Phantom is over leveled, and they're just playing through the game. But they were with the builds that they used and just how it went. It's one of the ones where in the moment it just gets under your skin and you're really overly motivated to win, and you just want to be an absolute pest. Though, like I said, these guys did nothing egregious. They're just playing vanilla Elden Ring. So I'm gonna go back and forth between talking about the tactics, the the build that I'm using, all up until the well, as the title will foreshadow, the anticlimactic but eventual victory that I have. And I guess you can take your guesses now that it's going to be you can go guess A. It is the Archer Mausoleum Knight on the big roots. B. Solaria. C. Gravity, or D. The Mausoleum, or E. The Frogs. Now here is when things start to go wrong. Um, the the Rune Bear is outside of the boundary of multiplayer, so basically we all just got respawned 2 feet from each other and basically had to re-engage and get very confused. And because the Rune Bear is the enemy and is outside of the range, basically these guys have the high ground. And then the second part that really sets me up is the moon hits the ledge visually on my screen, and then I get hit with it, and um, I swear I actually almost die in this part of it. So I think, yeah, I think at one point I'm just gonna stand here and just, or if I hadn't already, just be in awe of, like, how am I not dead? Um, because I had to give up the high ground. As you can see, the Phantom is completely spamming high ashes of war and very high level spells. Granted, they don't have much health, and based off of the invasion they could have just had a lot of mind investment to start with. But it feels like they were over leveled. And if I could have roll caught better or did something, I probably could have ended this there. But yeah, so it with how everything felt and looked, it seemed like that they had way more mind than they should have. But I get thinking about it, their damage seemed pretty normal. So for reference, this build is rune level 87. And I'm using Radigan's Source Seal, and here I just laugh because I have the immunity boosters. Um, but then I just get hit with this magic pot and half my health goes away. But I have Radigan's Source Seal on, so that way I can get 51 vigor and up to 16 strength and 16 dex to use a very large array of melee weapons, and have a little bit of extra equip load. However, the main stat of this is faith. With Nicola's headband and starting at base profit, I have 60 faith in order to use Mesmer's Orb at rune level 87, which is effectively like Bale's Victory Lightning, where you can do crazy amounts of damage with it. It's a little bit easier to use than Bale's Flame Lightning, and less exciting, like a Falcon Punch off the stage in Super Smash Brothers. but it's still a very fun spell. So so basically the build is I literally dump all of my stats such that I can use that, and of course the fashion talisman is well, it's not a requirement, but fashion, we gotta look nice. We're coming back from time being sick to, and so we're gonna use our YouTube banner fashion. Um, so with that, I basically have 2 flexible talisman slots. I have the cerulean tier because it is just so useful. Like if you've played Elden Ring before the DLC, you'd see the guys with like stacks of duplicated or dropped starlight shards and just effectively have infinite blue juice and FP. And there I I should have been paying better attention here because I do almost die for it with the frostbite. Um, but the other talisman that I mainly use is the robustness +3 one. It is um, it's the one that's from the DLC. So basically, you just have a ton of frost and bleed resistance. And there, I was with Midra's sword. I was mostly seeing whether or not I could grab them because it felt like there was some strangeness with the connection, and I thought that this person would probably overcommit, seeing their build and walk into the Ash of War. However, that didn't happen, so I'm gonna basically re-strategize and move over to um, it's not Mikola Scythe, the Halo Scythe. the and well, the Ash of War being Mikola's Rings of Light, basically something that is relatively inexpensive to hit L2 on, so that the cerulean blue tier gets my FP back up to close to max, because with 60 faith investment, I don't really I have like base profit mind, and I'm casting spells that cost a lot of FP. So it is a resource that I'm kind of managing more with time than stats. And Radigan's Source Seal isn't that bad in terms of like, it seems that like there's a lot of damage anyway, and a lot of the times is like you worry about getting blendered and like comboed more, and also just like stat exploded with like combo frost and bleed, and gravity a lot more in Elden Ring than I would say just like good armor. Like tournament duels at this level, like if you're doing like uh there are more competitive PvP settings where you would not want to use Radigan's Source Seal, and at this level, or at least or at least you would not want to use it without some very, very good reason for it. So here I'm just kind of throwing giant fireballs. This guy is Tower Defense Simulator. I've said it before in videos and I'll say it again. This guy has an infinite supply of great arrows, really good accuracy, and on top of that, can move himself to safety. And I have Erdtree Heal because I have way too much faith and infinite FP over time, so I'm able to just heal him up with no consequence, really. So basically, I'm preventing these two from using their ranged chip to eventually just whittle him down, and denying that, I force the Phantom to basically charge in a lot further than where they would want to be. Yeah, and I think the main weapon of this build although I'm not using it as much because of the trying to keep my distance and play protect here. The main build. Oh yeah, I also have Elden Stars, which I did get a kill with, just not here. Elden Stars is just a giant lump of attention, and it does an amazing job of doing exactly what you want it to do, of being a giant annoying thing that hangs in their face for 10 seconds. If you use it from that S tier spell, it does exactly what you want it to do. Um, in terms of efficient killing potential, it is not as much. And sadly, my buff wore off from the flask because I used the it's the 12 health per tick and the O'Plane. I think it's the speckled hard tier. There we go. The O'Plane hard tier is the defense one. Speckled hard tier is the status resistance ones. Again, because if you stack bleed, so even with team, when going up against a team, your bleed and frost meters can get filled really rapidly, and even if you're not necessarily hit, those can, even if you get hit with a phantom hit, the status can either pull you out of hyper armor, if you're hit with a phantom hit, still cause you to stun and slow down, and then cause you to get comboed by the other members of the team, and then you're just getting hit by 3 guys in a blender. So I find not avoiding bleed and also frost. Avoiding frost is really important because it's like bleed is the stereotypical casual like everyone runs bleed because bleed is overpowered in Elden Ring. That's a like this bleed is really strong. There's not arguing that. But all status ailments are really powerful, and even if someone's not running an arcane build, there are weapons that just have passive bleed that are pretty good, like Great Stars, which is still also great for strength builds, or people just like the Morning Star because it's just a easy to use weapon that hits decently hard and has strike effective damage. And so it's very nice to have all of the extra bleed and frost resistance, because especially if you're running up against PvP players, a lot of them, like, I don't know when it originally picked up, but one of the common things to do is just huck a frost pot, and if you have more than 300 frost resistance, that frost pot does 1 damage instead of actually doing the frost status proc. So it's basically you just invalidated 10 of their pots. Here they try and go get around me. However, it doesn't really work because I saw them fall off, and this guy is also here. But here is again when the having bestial vitality and the like the little blue tier giving me tons of FP all come in handy. And there I actually throw those at the Phantom because I know that they aren't looking, and this guy's been pretty good at dodging the rings, and it could theoretically have caused the Phantom to fumble. There was the little blue swirl animation was the antler talisman from Regal Ancestor Spirit. And so Regal Ancestor so that is FP upon defeating enemies, which can give you a lot of really good FP, and I would highly recommend using it if you're doing just like casual co-op clearing through an area. But what is more consistent than killing enemies, because you can run out of enemies, is just 1 FP per whatever the time interval is. Because although it's not the most exciting thing of me just sitting here shooting a ballista at these two, like, yes, you could say that they're healing, but I am also getting a full health bar back, and there's a boss here that still has a full health bar. So, presumably, I am, well, I'm making myself available to fight again, and they were already pretty close to full health relatively. So I'm able to drain their resources while restoring my own, which is amazing for me. Um, I'm pretty sure I went on a tangent about, but frost is really common in the PvP community. It is like bleed, you could say, is like the staple PvE status ailment, and frost is what I'd say is generally the um, it's gonna sound bad, but the like the relaxed, I was gonna say the chill PvP community, but the more there are a decent number of relaxed players that just have frost weapons because they still have good attribute scaling for like strength or dex builds, and the frost damage is really nice. So you run into it enough that I like having frost boluses on my little pouch, and that I think it matters enough to mention that the resistance matters, because the having those frost boluses and acknowledging that even if I'm not running into bleed, that frost could very easily kill me, it saved me in enough invasions. Um, and now, um, they make the mistake. Well, they've already made the mistake of following me, but they were just playing the level, and I just positioned myself really well. But they make um, the final mistake of, because they didn't want to engage Siluria, following me this way, because we are on a little tree branch. Well, it's actually a pretty big tree branch, but we've got frogs, we've got archer guys, we've got me with giant fireballs. I have an endure hand axe, which is one of my random staple weapons. I forget that I don't have my robustness talisman on, and I do my nice retreat back over here. And again, these guys did nothing wrong. Like, they're just playing the level. I just, things got close enough that I just really wanted to win. So I'm being a pill and pestering them and shooting at them with ballista. And note that hand ballista was not on the list of things that killed these guys, because I didn't kill them. Hubris did. Their own arrogance to kill me defeated the host. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an amazing day. See ya.